Well, welcome everybody to today's video conference.
One of the things I observed about our community is that it's ever-changing.
We are very diverse here.
Although we're accepting, we don't really understand each other's cultures, which causes confusion.
I actually just had a question for Dubai.
This is also in response to the question that was just asked. You know, just wishing for things to, be better isn't always enough. You have to actually take action.
I think the greatest thing about Dubai is that we have so many cultures that are, accepted.
I've seen Dubai when it was full sand to now skyscrapers.
Okay, so I've got a slight response to the gentleman who spoke last. In answer to a lot of the questions that were brought up, we had questions on how to increase tolerance, how to create less ignorance, answers to corruption, to prevent discrimination, and we really think education is the answer here.
We live, everyone here knows, in a shrinking world, in an interconnected world. The major challenges we face, whether it's violence or poverty or hunger or disease, none of those challenges stop at any of our country's borders. And if we don't work better together, we're not going to get where we need to go. I think there's sort of two very clear paths. There's a path of tolerance and there's a path of intolerance. And I think intolerance comes from a lack of exposure. And I think tolerance grows from the chance to interact and to disagree, but to have conversations with folks from around the globe, from our own neighborhoods, who might have different views and different background than us. And the more these kinds of opportunities, these kinds of forums are created so young people from across the globe can get to know one another, can discuss the really challenging issues that they're facing, can understand both the similarities and differences. The more we create those kinds of opportunities as adults, I think the more our world's young people are going to lead us where we need to go.
We're going to invite the patron of the Tony Blair Faith Foundation, Mr. Blair, to respond to what he's heard in the conference.
I remember the day I met my first non-white person. Right, I was 12 years old. So my community was very much, everyone was the same, mainly of the same faith, the same outlook. When my 11-year-old son had his birthday party a few months ago, he must have had 3 or 4 different ethnic backgrounds there, 3 or 4 different faiths at his party. And that's the difference in the way the world is today. It's coming together. And the question is, do faith and culture and belief operate to help that process of coming together, or do they become points of division that start pulling people apart?
Technology is speeding up the pace of change in remarkable ways. And I think going forward, the only constant that young people are going to have is change. And we're either going to have trained young people to embrace that, to help to shape it, to celebrate that diversity, or people will be overwhelmed by the rate of change and the level of diversity and flee from that. And so I think the stakes are very, very high. And again, I just go back to where I started, just the need for early exposure, the need for these thoughtful dialogues. It's not that we're all going to come to some unanimous agreement on any one of the points, but to really listen and to hear what other folks are saying and understand their perspectives. As the Prime Minister said, I think we don't do enough to create those opportunities, and that's why this kind of work is so important. As I said at the start, both sets of students, I think, are amazingly inspiring. I think the more we can create more opportunities for more students to participate in these kinds of forums, that'd be really powerful. And to the Prime Minister, I'll commit to do whatever I can to help you expand the program here in the United States. But there's a lot of room to grow there, and would love to see more young people have these kinds of opportunities.